Alright, we are back with yet another Dragon Ball Super card game video, and this one is showcasing another Set 6 red leader, or Set 6 leader in general. And like I said, I have a lot of decks upcoming for Set 6 and playtesting a lot, busting my ass for that, so definitely subscribe if you are new. If you're just watching this from recommended or featured or whatever, I see you, I see the analytics. Just subscribe, it doesn't hurt, it helps out a lot. Like, dislike, comment if you can, join the Discord in the description. But this is Set 6 FRIEZA. Hey, look at that. This is a kind of a hype leader, but not really. I think it was one of those leaders where it's like edging out from tier 1 to tier 2. Or yeah, it's around there. It's around there. It can be around there. It just has a lot of unfortunate answers to it, I think. And I think it loses to a number of other meta decks. But this kind of puts a lot of the Set 6 decks in check. Honestly, I feel like if you play this against another Set 6 leader or archetype within that leader in Set 6, it would probably win, because it's just one of those things that kind of mitigates that and does a good job at what it's intending to do. Now, if you haven't checked this out already, definitely skip to the end if you want to see gameplay. You already saw the deck. I'll explain everything as far as the card choices and what I'm trying to do, but I'm also trying to release a second version of this. So if you see this FRIEZA and then another FRIEZA, I really wanted to do that one because my boy Josh showed me his version. Now I kind of want to make mine, so shout out to him. But for this one, this is my original build featuring BABIDI. So this is Red FRIEZA BABIDI Chaos Edition. Yeah, we'll just call it that. So unfortunately, the permanent starts out on the card that you can't include anything with real less in your deck. That means you can only include 4 costs and higher as far as battle cards. You can add whatever extra cards that you want, preferably red extra cards with red extra cards because of his activate main, which is look at the top 5. You choose 1 red extra card among them and add it to your hand. And because of this, just because of just not doing anything for the first 3 or 4 turns, it's just really good because there's a lot of stuff in red and just in general in Set 6 that really helps this to become a really good control deck. And yeah, it's kind of boring, but when you actually get the deck going and you actually get to your win cons, it's not bad. But I will let you know, you will probably go into time every single time. So this is probably best for best of 1 and not really best of 3. And yeah, this is also an awaken, draw 2 and flip it over. You draw 1 when you activate main once per turn on the awaken side, so you don't actually have to attack. This is similar to the Universe 7 FRIEZA from Tournament of Power, and just the FRIEZA in general. Like, he just sits there and let everybody die, or just sits there and he just gains advantage. So it's very much perfectly fitting for this type of deck and as well as leader. And when this gets attacked by a battle card, not from a leader, which is the way that you kind of get around for this, is that you may choose 1 red FRIEZA army card from your hand and place it into the drop area, and if you do so, negate that attack and this skill for the duration of the turn. The fact that this is duration of the turn is just incredible. Like, honestly, it is just incredible. You could figuratively play red yellow with Nimbus and then negate their leader and then negate with the leader ability, and then they just can't do anything as far as attacks go. So other than Broly and resetting his leader, but that's, you know, that's Broly. I think that in itself makes this leader kind of special as far as the meta goes, from playing this deck and as well as seeing other people play versions of their deck. I think this is a pretty good deck against like Swap or Slug, or even Red Blue Hirudegarn might be pretty good as far as this goes. I think Zeno might mess up this deck. I thankfully haven't gone against a Chain Attack Zeno deck like Pan. Well, actually I have played a Pan. I haven't gone against like Red Blue Hirudegarn, but I have played Broly Storm. I have played other swap decks and stuff like that. I have won because of the way that the deck goes. And one of the main reasons is because of the Izano Yuka counter, and as well as Live to Fight Another Day. those two cards alone makes this deck really strong. And let's just kind of go through all of the card choices in the card pool that we have here. So we have one -Killy Zone that you send 3 cards to your warp and draw 1, and they can't play counterplay. So this actually helps a lot because I feel like Preemptive Strike and as well as Cold Bloodlust really just mess up this deck quite a lot when it comes to the FRIEZA finisher, chain attack into BABIDI, you know, whatever. And just having the one of is really good because you almost always see it, just the way that the deck is set up and thinning it out with the extra cards. I haven't been in a situation where I haven't seen the one of, but I have had to play around it. And before, when I wasn't playing around it, it was a bummer because I was going against Broly decks, going against green decks, and it just wasn't a good time. But the one of is good. If you want to bump it up to 2, that's fine. I just found that having it at 2 kind of clogged it up a little bit. When you choose the cards that are in your drop, you have to do it for your battle cards, and sometimes you just don't want to do that because Loyal Kokono obviously gets a card. Well, sometimes you don't want to warp any cards from your drop, is what I'm saying. So Loyal Kokono, right? You can get a red extra card from your drop area and then add it to your hand, and then that's going to be any of these red extra cards that you'll be getting from the top 5 or just using in general. And then the only targets you're going to use for -Killy Zone are all the other battle cards that really are non-necessity. So like the Unbreakable, the Chain Attack, the BABIDI, all that. But it still works out. Again, 2 of them, not going to hurt. But early game, you're really not going to use it because you're going to be using these counter cards and you don't really want to warp those out because of the FRIEZA the finisher needs it in the drop. So just be careful when you do use it. Combos Awakening, since we can't play any super combos, yes, there are no super combos in this deck because you can't play them due to the restriction for the 3 or more, or the 4 or more, that is. So the Combo Awakening is effectively a 5k free, technically. And you choose up to one of your red cards, your leader, your battle cards, whatever, and it gains 6k. So if they're swinging for 15, then you just place one of these bad boys and you're good to go. If you play 2 of them, you get math, right? Active Image Technique is good because it lets you it helps you self-awaken for 1. That's one of the things that you will find in this deck where you're just not self-awakening. You just have I think the 6th life is kind of the perfect time to stop taking life. If anything, if you're going against something super aggro, you just have to be patient and use your extra cards, your negates, as much as possible. Both of these cards -10 and 15 respectively, so those are the things you kind of have to think about early on in case you're going something that goes wide, or going against something that goes wide. And for the leader, since he untaps and draws 2, or awakens and draws 2 instead of untaps, you just kind of get card advantage. And I think that's really good for this leader because it is control. I've had 14 card hands because of this, where you look at the top 5, you get an extra card, you awaken, untap, or draw 2. Wow, so I'm so used to it. You draw 2, and that's 3 cards right there, and then you use his ability in those 4 cards. So 4 cards in a turn, it's pretty good. Anyway, so Active Image Technique, 40k to your one of your cards, and then -10k for one of their battle cards. It's really good. And then Sparking 5, which most of the time when you need to use it, you'll have it. You can just use it to take a life instead. So that's really good. And is that all you got? So this is the new card from set 6. If you haven't noticed already, I've been hyping up a little bit. And if your leader card is red, negate his attack, and you choose 1 red card from your hand and place it in your drop area. If you do so, choose 2 of their opponent's battle cards, and it gains -15k for the duration of your turn. So this is really powerful if they attack with their leader and they have battle cards on board. Some just don't have an option to do that. You'll see this in the Lord Slug gameplay that I'll have after this, where Izado you got is really good against that. To be fair, I don't think he was really ready for it. For those who have been experiencing this and as well as seeing this at negate, I think they will be ready for it. So they will just attack with their battle cards instead, especially if they only have 1. So you would be negating 1 card while they still have their leader attack, and 1 card being KO'd at the most, if they don't have barrier, of course, because it has choose. And of course it works with the FRIEZA, and as well as Loyal Kokono, where you can go ahead and just pitch an extra card that you don't need, and then get it back with this, or just use it for the permanent effect here. And then new model Scouter. So this is the top 7. You choose 2 red Frieza army cards. Energy cost 4 or more and add to your hand. This is really dedicated to get the finisher and as well as the 8-drop out or in your hand. Yes, you can get Quick Shift Berry Blue or Loyal Kokono. Those are probably the other 2 targets. Barrier Negotiator, I'll go in a little bit, and Final Showdown Frieza. You probably don't want to hard cast that bad boy, but we'll go through it. But those are the main targets for this. Transcendent Strike, Transcendent Strike. Yes, I can speak English. Leader card is red. You choose up to one of the opponent's battle cards of 20k power or less and KO it. Has a wide range. There's a whole article, I think, by Cameron Wood. My boy, go read that. I'll link it in the description if I remember. And this has a huge range, and it's just really good for removal. Yes, it doesn't have minus 20k, in which, you know, I don't think it would really help for any of these cards. It's just really good just to remove something. And now the bread and butter of this deck, and you'll see in the gameplay why this is just so crazy. This deck is so crazy. This extra card is so crazy. If your leader card is a red Frieza army card, so this one, and as well as a Clash of Fates one, and your opponent has 3 or more energy, which is a huge thing. You have to remember, you just can't play this if they have 2 energy. So if you're going first, you really want to play this on 4 energy anyway, so that way you have 1 for negate. And then you get to basically just end their turn, because you draw 1 card, in duration of the opponent's next turn. The entire time they play any cards, the opponent cannot play any battle cards 20k or less, or else they have to choose 3 cards from the drop and place in the drop area. So literally, if you have this card out on the field, which by the way, you'll see in the video as well, or the gameplay, I play it out and I use it as a field card, and it's just so like people remember it. Like I play it out and I let people just play battle cards. I'm like, okay, just go ahead and drop 3 then. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's because of this card. They're like, oh, I'll take it back. And I'm like, okay, that's great. Well, I'm gonna for now play this as a field card. And seeing this on the other end and playing something that has a low cost curve really sucks, because sometimes they're combos like I said, like Lord Slug, and it just gets worse from there, especially if they play these back to back. And for me, I'm looking to play this back to back, and I'm always looking to get Loyal Kokono for those type of matchups in order to get it again and keep playing it back to back. So that's just me, you know. That's just the type of thing that I love about this deck. Kind of already went through him. You just get a red extra card from your drop. Unbreakables for super combos, you just draw 1. Chain attack, don't really need to explain this one. You play the Babidi at 6 energy or 6 red energy, and then you get to play the number of targets that we have. So the main targets are going to be the Final Showdown Frieza for double strike critical, and as well as a pseudo cold bloodless. This actually came in clutch against a Gogeta player, I do believe. Someone was playing Gogeta, they didn't really have a choice to play anything else, and they kind of stopped it in its tracks. And then Berry Blue Negotiator, in which you play this card. Again, it doesn't say from hand. If your leader card is a red Frieza army card, you choose one of their opponent's battle cards of 25k or less, ignoring barrier, and gain control of it. This is very niche, right? And if you don't have any other targets, which awkwardly enough, I've had to play this in Quick Shift before from Babidi, but you know, it happens. You know, it happens. You gotta have to use these early in the game. But anyway, this card is interesting, in which you can just gain control of something and then just swing with it. So it's like a Ginyu that doesn't really give them anything. You just have to play for 5 or play with the Babidi. But it's really good. I think it's really good. It just was awkward when I was trying to take control of a Buhan that was 30k or more. So that, just watch out for the requirement. And then Kefla, which does work. Like as soon as you get one of these out, it's just a done deal. Like honestly, you're just attacking like this guy and as well as her on the field from Babidi. That's like the perfect thing for it. So yeah, that's all I can really say. You attack and you draw 1 and gains 5k. So 35,000 second attack. There you go. Babidi, you'd look top 7, choose 2 red battle cards with 25k or less, and play them. Kind of already know that. And then this is another target, but this is kind of what the deck focuses on, along with the Live to Fight Another Day, in which you have a double strike 25,000. I kind of already went over this in the previous video. And if there are 5 or more red cards, you reduce it by 1. If there are 10 or more, you reduce it by another 1. So it's a 5k or a 5 drop effectively, in which you play 10 of these guys, which I mean, you will, honestly, you will. Like there's what, 8, 7 or 8, 11, 14, 16, 20 extra cards. So I mean, I'm sure you're gonna go through 10 of them halfway through the game. And as soon as you play it and you lead a card as a red FRIEZA card, you choose all battle cards with 25k or less. And that includes yourselves. So if you're playing BABIDI or Mind Control BABIDI, usually what happens is that I play him, play this, attack with the need to, pass the turn, have 2 red energy open because of chain attack, and then negate whatever I need to do, let them kill it, and then if they're still alive the next turn, I attack with what I need to do, and then FRIEZA the finisher, attack, and then golden FRIEZA. So I mean, that's basically how the game should go. But it KOs everything, annoying barrier with 25,000. Just remember that, including your own board. And then this guy, you choose 3 cards from your hand on this guy, which is energy 7, and then he EX evolve for free. This guy has 30k critical, and he also has a permanent in which you and your opponent's battle cards with 30,000 or less power, they have to choose 4 cards from your life and place in a drop area to play them. So both of you guys cannot play anything with 30,000 or less power. And of course it switches to active as soon as you evolve, so you can swing with this and then switch to active and then swing again if you need to. Just watch out for the Mafuba. Just don't attack. Just leave that out there. That's really about it. And that kind of leads out to the FRIEZA Army Reborn. By this time, you're going to have 2 or less life. So the next turn, you can get around this 30,000 or less power type of requirement. You can KO everything just like how this guy does. But he reveals their hand, and then you take 1 card, and then has quadruple strike 40,000. So it's just really cool when you actually get everything out. It's all about surviving. It's all about using all the red cards to your advantage, and as well as using BABIDI as a secondary win con. And the second version of this deck, if I ever get to that, does play the other secret rare, and it is kind of wild because you get to play the BABIDI and as well as the secret rare at the same time. And if you have enough in the drop or warp, it is pretty damn good in order to play all those cards at the same time. So let's get on to the gameplay. Alright, so this one is going to be sped up again, also featuring Zami. So thankfully he was kind enough to play me a few games and test out some of these decks, and he's going to be playing Lord Slug to my FRIEZA. And again, starting out with the top 5, got the Is That All You Got, because I knew that he has a lot of targets, 15k or less, that he's going to be playing. I think this is going to be pretty normal. He's going to be taking a life, going for critical. I said no negates, and I went ahead and just took the draw, so that way I can kind of build up the hand. This one was kind of annoying simply because he was going to play that card that drops. And look at that, I got the 1 of, well, I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is a 1 of for the minus killing zone. Took the life, whiffed on the top 5, got the quick shift berry blue as far as the top 7 for the scouter, and then just went ahead and passed. So I would imagine, since he's playing blue here, after I see this, he's probably going to be playing maybe Sensu Bean or something else like that. I think the blue-green variant of this is a little different, but we'll see what happens here. I went ahead and took the life because I knew that you know, it wasn't that big of a deal, and I needed more cards into the drop anyway, and I wanted to use Is That All You Got on cards that he actually had in play. So now we have basically the Angela, and then I went ahead and dropped a red, and then the minus killing zone. So if I was thinking about it here, as far as this, I probably would have not dropped the minus killing zone simply because I knew that he had preemptive strike. But I didn't have chain attack or anything like that, so it wasn't that big of a deal. So I went in top 5, got another Is That All You Got, played the Live to Fight Another Day because he did have 3 energy, yep, and then I had 3 energy as well. Went ahead and took the draw, and that's pretty much it. I went ahead and just attacked, so that way you can't take a life, or he wouldn't want to take a life, let's say, as far as getting crit on his front side. So this is pretty good, because if he attacks either way from the leader or the Lord Slug here, I wouldn't mind it, because I'm just gonna awaken anyway. I don't want to awaken on his turn, but we will see what happens here as far as this goes. And I think he's about to realize that he can't really play anything without dropping 3 cards in hand, so we will see how that goes. And I went ahead and took the life, so not that big of a deal. I went ahead and passed, really didn't play anything. I took this hint Transcendent Strike, so that way... oh, actually, no, I forgot about that. I was going to pick something else. I literally saw the Live to Fight Another Day, and I was just like, I'm just going to go and take that, because it's just going to be better as far as that. Or this situation, that is. I was going to use the Loyal Kukono to get another one, but I went ahead and said no. And then I used the Scouter to get both of those guys. And now I'm in a kind of an awkward situation. I'm like, do I combo out for this? Do I keep my energy untapped to make sure to survive, or what? And this is also something that I'm like, I can still use after image technique. I can still use the Combo Awakening. I can also still combo out the 7-drop FRIEZA as well as the Foreseeing Hit. So I was just like, you know, unless you play something huge, you know, like the 6-drop, which I think he does in this game, you know, I don't think I'm gonna have too much of an issue. So it wasn't too big of a deal. So I used the Combo Awakening to get away around his 20k, and now he's swinging for 15, I do believe, so I comboed out the Foreseeing Hit. Foreseeing Hit is still pretty good. I think it's very situational. And I think for this, I went ahead and drew, and I think I'm comboing Loyal Kukono to get the Live to Fight Another Day, and counting out to see if I have 10 or more in my drop, which I don't. Otherwise, I would have played the FRIEZA the Finisher, but unfortunately, I don't. I'm gonna see what else happens here. I think he plays a Sensu Bean, which is no big deal. I can combo out of that. So went ahead and got the draw, and forcing him to play something else, which I'm not gonna go ahead and negate here. I'm gonna go ahead and combo out these cards, which I don't really need, and then let him attack, get another card. I think this is where he plays the 6-drop Lord Slug, which I think he has enough as far as cards go. And I'm just counting. I said yellow, took that. I was like, okay, why not? And yeah, this is when you play it. Actually, you know what? Now that I see, oh well, now that I see it, I think he misplayed here. See, this is why we go back to gameplay. This is what happens when you don't pay attention, because I think he paid for 5, and I think he, well, okay, no, he's right. Wings is on board. I thought BABIDI was on board. I was like, okay, so he's good. You pay 5 for that, keep the blue energy open, and then I used FRIEZA the Finisher. I had 10 in drop for that, and I was like, okay, cool, because the slug kind of helped out there. So I went ahead and dropped 3, and then a pass turn. So if he plays literally anything, I should be fine. Because the next turn, I'm going to go ahead and use the Secret Rare FRIEZA and end the game. And I do believe that is pretty much it when it comes to this this game. You know, to be fair, like I said, I don't think he really knew too much about the archetype for FRIEZA, which is fair. You know, it's not that big of a deal. I went ahead and used Active Image Technique here just to make sure I protect myself, and then if you place any battle card, it doesn't matter what it is, I have the negate and as well as FRIEZA on board. So I really don't need to do anything. I'm probably just gonna go ahead and then charge the Chain Attack Trunks here. Oh, actually, okay. Oh yeah, I forgot I was at 2 less life, so I can just play it for 5. So, and look at that hand. Look at that hand right there, huh? So he does have the Shocking Death Ball, so unfortunately I won't be able to end the game here, which is fine. And I think I just passed. Yeah, went ahead and passed. Went ahead and drew for the leader. Didn't really need anything else, just had the Kefla. And contemplating life, I do believe, over there. And I was like, okay, there's no negates. He's trying to kill off the Secret Rare, which is really mean. Got 2 super combos from the hand that we saw. I think he drew into another one. My man went to 50, which is just silly, which is enough for me to combo out of. And of course, he's not going to have another card to play as far as the bottle card goes. This is where it kind of gets tricky, and yeah, that's it. So hopefully you enjoyed what I had as far as gameplay goes and kind of understand what the deck does and where it goes. And this is the deck. Let me know if you would change anything. Watch out for the second version of this deck. I honestly, like, this is still like early stages. Like set 6 is not even out. I'm sure there are better versions of this, but hopefully this is a good platform for you to go off on. So yeah, definitely let me know in the comments. Like, dislike, join the Discord, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.